Hey everybody, this is Carissa and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Inky Fairy Designs. Today is Mixed Media Monday and I have an art journal to share with you. This is the new Dina Wakley Media art journal. It's the small 6x6 heavy watercolor paper art journal, and I finally got my hands on the new paint colors maybe a month ago or so, and I pulled out Apricot, Carnation, and Heather. I will tell you that I think I was inspired around this time when I made this page by the new scribble sticks that had come out that have those colors in them, and so since I didn't have those, I wanted to create a watercolor look in this journal using those colors. So I decided to do that. And what I did was I sprayed some water on the paper. I did not gesso it. So it is raw, and I sprayed some water on it to make it wet. And then I laid out my colors on my craft mat and also sprayed water on there. Then I started adding them to just the middle of the page and kind of into this look where like the water or the color splashes across the middle of the page, and so that's where I was concentrating most of the color. And I just kind of did a little rainbow, added some paint, added some more water, let it kind of drip, and just went back and forth until I was happy with the way that this looked. And it's really cool. Like, I love watercolors, and you guys know that. I don't generally water down my acrylics when I am art journaling. I really compartmentalize my art, and so watercolor is watercolor, acrylics are acrylics. But this was really fun to kind of make that watercolor soft look with the acrylics because it is permanent, and I like having a permanent background when I'm working in my art journals because I know that that layer isn't going to move when I start adding a bunch of layers on top, right? So I'm going to finish adding a little bit more color here, and then I'm going to heat set this layer and move on to the next layer. So I'm going to take out this stencil, which is called Circle Faces, and I have never used this stencil before. I thought it was cool, but it's really kind of funky, and I just never really knew how to use it until this night. So I pulled out Mineral, which is also from the new collection of colors this year. I'm really loving all of these pastel colors. I know I used them all together on this page, but I think they'll be really cool to use in conjunction, obviously, with the rest of the colors as like highlights and stuff. So I'm really excited to kind of play with them some more with some of the original colors. So I just decided to stencil these across the line of color. They kind of reminded me of those voices in your head, because that's kind of where this page is coming from. And in hindsight, I would not have stenciled those two faces on the end because I ended up wanting to use this stamp right there. And then I had to really go crazy and cover that up, and didn't like it. So I heat set that, and then I added some journaling around those faces. You guys know I love adding journaling like this. This is the face stamp that I was talking about. It is from the I Want stamp set, and that's when I realized, after I had added all that journaling and all that crap, that it was way too busy for me to add that face where I wanted it. So now I'm coming in and I'm doing some Stabilo like shading. This is what I do when I have no idea what I'm going to do next. I just add some of that Stabilo kind of scribble around the page, and this is really my thought process time where I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to fix this? I'm thinking, do I want to add paint over there? Do I want to not add the face? That's just kind of what's going in my mind. as I'm doing this page, added some water to activate that Stabilo Marxol and give some shading to the faces and just hide that journaling a little bit more. Here I am. I got done with my Stabilo mark making and I still don't know what I'm going to do to fix that. So I just go for it. I pulled out some of, I think it's the, not buff, it's the sand paint from this collection, I think, and it's really brown. I hadn't used it on my page yet, and when I put it on there, I was like, oh man, this is really brown, and I hated it. And so I decided to add some of those other colors that I had already in the background, and I'm really just trying to create a spot where I can stamp this face. And it looks crazy, hot mess, but it comes together, I promise. This is the point of no return that usually happens in any mixed media art that I do, where I'm in this really ugly place in the piece and I just have to go, keep pushing myself through. So I tried to do this like stencil, remove some of that paint, but it is not a gessoed surface, so that didn't work very well. So I just blend that away. That technique really works better if you have a gessoed surface, which I'm excited to try in this journal. I haven't done that yet, but I will definitely be doing that in the future. So I brought in and I started blending some more of those colors that I originally used on the background on top of that sand color. Then I dried it. Now it's really dark. This is just the process, guys. You just have to keep working through it. I mean, I could have stepped away and let it go, but I was really in, kind of the zone at this point, and I really wanted to make this work. So I decided to brighten it up a little bit with some white, which I obviously need more of because I'm struggling to get any of that paint out of the bottle. And then I decided, well, maybe I can kind of like round it out and kind of, it almost looks like a face. It almost looks like a face there. But no, I'm not going to paint my own face. Not quite yet. I really wanted to use that stamp. I really like it. I love the text on it. I love the sentiments that come with it. So now I decided to just do a little bit of mark making on this area and tie it into the rest of the spread, adding some of those marks above and below that little watercolor look that I have. And I really like the way that this looks. At the moment, I'm not happy. Like, I remember myself making this page and thinking, this is never going to see the light of YouTube. But I want to share stuff like this with you as well, so you can see not everything is perfect, so a picture that you see on Instagram or wherever you guys get your inspiration and you're like amazed or think you can't do that or whatever, there's probably a place where it didn't look like that, so there's a place where it just doesn't look all that great. And so that was the place. Once I added the stamp, I was like so happy with it. I love the way that the faces kind of go into the background behind her, like it's her thoughts, because it is my thoughts that I journaled on those faces, and it's all of those things, those insecurities and things that cloud my mind and sometimes stifle me from creating. And this page represents that, and I think that's why now, looking back, I'm really happy with it. At that moment I wasn't, and now I can look at it and I really, really love it. And I think it's because it represents that moment in time, and that's all art journaling is. It's like, it's not really scrapbooking, but it's my form of journaling. Obviously, I used to journal when I was a kid, or when I was a teenager, and I had loads and loads and loads and loads of journals. And this is my form now, this art form where I can remember what it means, but nobody else looking at it can really can really tell. So, and that's what's important to me. And if it inspires you guys, even better. And so you guys can see the process. So I added a little bit of my own scribbles to this stamp just to kind of give her a different look. I added a little bit of hair, added some more lines and scribbles to her face, and then I'm going in and adding some of my mark making. This really I can't say it enough, I guess, but like mark making and adding these little scribbles and stuff touches to stamps or stencils really kind of embeds it into your page, makes it your own, makes it unique, so that you could use this exact same stamp on another page and make it look totally different. That's what's so versatile about using stamping and what I love about stamping in art journaling. And yeah, so now I'm going to add the sentiment. It comes with like 4 sentiments, and they all start with I want, hence the name of the stamp set, I want. This one, I want to live fully. That's truly what I want. And it just kind of it just really stood out to me at that moment and spoke to me. And it's the perfect title for this entire page. So I love it. I added this page. This paper is super textured. Obviously, it's a heavy duty watercolor cold pressed paper, so it has a lot of texture to it. And so when I stamped the sentiment, I had to fill it in with my journaling pen, but that's not a big deal because it's really easy to do. And so I brought in a little bit of white highlights here, and just to tie that in, I'm just scribbling around the little faces there. And then I will go in and frame the entire spread out with that mineral color just to tie it in, because it really kind of just didn't really have any other spot where I used that other than through the stencil. So I wanted to tie that in, and I like framing out a page, and I like the way that the paint looks on this texture, because it's kind of rough and it just gives that really cool look around the edge. I think that's about, oh no, that's not it. The last thing that I do is I come in with this Deco Art Media Carbon Black mister, and I don't use it as a mist. I take out the little spray nozzle and splatter it on my page, and then I know it's done. And like I said, I didn't like it at the time. I didn't think I would ever put this video up on YouTube, but looking at it now, I really like it, and I hope you guys do too. If you did, please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. And I want to let you guys know I am part of an awesome community called Mixed Up Creative. I'm going to put a link to it below. I do have some tutorials on there that are real time that you guys can sign up for. They're very affordable. And then also talking about art healing and art therapy, I kind of touched that a little bit in this piece, and how I use art to kind of work through different things. There is a summer class coming to Mixed Up Creative that's all about the healing properties of art, and I want you guys, if that resonates with you, to check it out, because it's going to be amazing. There's going to be tons of artists sharing their process along with other self-care type activities that you can do, or ideas. So I just wanted to mention that real quick in this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, stay inspired, be creative, and share that with others, guys. Be sure to tag me on Instagram too if you make anything that's inspired by anything on my channel or anything that I share. I'd love to take a look at it. All right, guys, until next time, bye.